We are back at bigleaguepolitics.com, and we are joined by one of the top citizen journalists out there, Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs, who's really a legend in this business and has been doing it for a number of years now. And he is at the center of national controversy. Joe, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
So tell us about Eric Swalwell. Who is this guy?
He's a congressman out of California, and him and I have gotten into some spats before, back and forth over gun control issues and things like that in the past on Twitter. But man, it really escalated Friday afternoon. You know, I picked up my phone in the morning, and John Cardillo, he's a reporter, he posted this older article where Representative Swalwell had talked about wanting to introduce this bill to forcibly, make people give over their guns and things like that. And I saw that, and I was like, you know what, I'm not even going to touch this today. That pisses me off, you know. And I put my phone down, and I walked into the living room, and I started doing like some chores in the morning that I normally do. And then it just got to me, and I went back and I said, you know what, I'm going to write this guy. This is just ridiculous. You know, and I told him, I said, yeah, you know, if you do something like this, I mean, you're literally going to create chaos. You're going to create a war. Because one, you know, the military is not going to listen to something like that. Most of the police aren't going to listen to something like that. And citizens aren't going to be that willing to just give up their rights. What makes this country great, we're not just going to give it away because some guy in California doesn't like it. And, he responded back to me, you know, basically, we'll nuke you. You know, we have nukes. And I was like really shocked to hear that come from a congressman, you know, a sitting congressman right now in California. It's definitely got to be one of the dumbest things any politician's tweeted ever.
So his argument is that he would defeat the Second Amendment gun owners because the government has nuclear weapons.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't know much about insurgency or things like that. He was trying to make this argument that because we have this nuclear deterrent that people would not go up against the government. But I mean, I was in Iraq, I was in Afghanistan. We've been in multiple wars in other countries, and we still have nuclear weapons, yet for some reason people keep attacking us and things keep happening. It's really not a good argument there by his part. But
well, Joe, isn't that what Saddam Hussein got in trouble for, was using weapons on his own people? I mean, is Swalwell suggesting that there could be a government attack on the people on this soil in this country at some point?
Yeah. And he's not the only politician to say that. There's a guy out of Kansas City, Missouri, a Democrat, who made a similar comment, and I didn't find out about it until yesterday afternoon. I tweeted it out. A woman got into a gun control debate with a guy out of there, and he says, look, your Second Amendment rights, your ability to stand up against the government all went away when our government had the ability to fly bombs with planes and drop them on people. You know, and I was like, wow, I was like, this must be, you know, what the Democrats really think, that they can just go in and bomb us if we don't give, you know, our rights away. I mean, it's insane.
It kind of feels like they don't have foreign enemies. They don't think of Iran as an enemy, or they don't think of ISIS, I don't think, as an enemy, but they think of, you know, gun owners and patriots here in America as their own domestic enemy. I mean, this has been the case for a while. What are some things that you're seeing with the Democrats using government in pretty scary ways recently?
Well, one of the nicknames I've been seeing people call him on the internet is Bashar al-Swalwell. So people have been calling him like Bashar Assad or whatever out of Syria. I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, what we're seeing in the left is a big radicalization. And we haven't seen something like this in a while because, you know, most of the Democrats always say, well, we're not going to come for your guns. We just want common sense gun reform. We just want to work with you to, you know, maybe we could ease some of the school shootings or something like that. And you can add signs all day and you can regulate stuff, but all that's doing is going after the law-abiding gun citizen, because obviously criminals don't care. Criminals love gun control because it disarms the people that they're going after in the first place. But it really started picking up, the left really started picking up rhetoric after the Parkland shooting here in Florida where I live. You saw these kids started taking the main stage, and one of the young girls, I can't remember her name, blonde girl with glasses, she goes, we're actually going to come for your gun. She goes, you give us an inch, we're going to take a mile. And the rest of those kids kind of followed suit with that rhetoric. And now you're starting to see some of these mainstream Democrats starting to come out and go, yeah, we do want to take your guns. Yes, we do want to come after those rights, and we want to get rid of them. So it's really starting to pick up steam and a lot of momentum on the left right now.
Yep, and we saw that with Stacey Abrams in Georgia. She said we're going to have gun confiscation. We're gonna go around and figure out either we're going to buy them back or people are going to turn them in. She said that.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see that many people willing to do it. Yeah, there's going to be some people who are going to go, yeah, here you go, it's okay. But most people out there, I mean, think about this. Men and women have fought and died for this country. This is a country that's so great. People are willing to risk life and limb to travel across huge bodies of water through cartel-infested lands just to get here.
Yep.
Why in the hell would we destroy what has made this country great? And one of the things that makes us great is we have that ability to stand up if our government becomes too tyrannical. Doesn't mean that it's ever going to get to that point again or anything like that, but we do have that power. We do have that ability to do that. And I should have the ability to carry a gun and to stop someone from attacking my baby or myself or my family, protect my property, to protect an innocent person being attacked or something like that. We should have that right and that ability. You know, the law-abiding gun owners aren't out there committing crimes. We understand the downside to doing something stupid, like pulling your gun when you shouldn't, just waving around and acting like some careless, person. You can go to jail for that. The everyday law-abiding citizen doesn't want to go to jail. I don't want to be taken from my family. I want to see my daughter grow up her entire life. I don't want to spend most of the time behind bars while that's all gone. So, it's just ridiculous. They really think that they're going to come and take this, and we're just going to go, it's okay. Take my rights, censor me, do whatever you want.
Well, somehow I think MS-13 and the cartels and the jihadis and the ISIS elements here in this country are going to get a pass from the gun control, and they're going to keep running their guns all over the country and illegally, which we know obviously happens. You have served in combat. You have seen the terrorist threat up close. I want you to talk about that. And do you see the jihadi threat inside the United States right now?
Oh, there's definitely a threat. I mean, there's a really good documentary the Judicial Watch did about a year ago. It's called The Sun City Sale. And it talked about how jihadis had crossed over the border from Mexico through El Paso into Anthony, New Mexico. They ended up landing some small planes, and they were having meetings on U.S. soil, really planning some major attacks. One was actually going after Oprah and some other high-profile people. They really wanted to inflict a lot of pain, and luckily the FBI were able to get some people in there and stop that. But there's a real threat at the border, and there's a real threat of jihadis getting into our country. And there's just a real threat all around because of our porous borders, people coming in that we can't vet. We don't know who they are. We don't know what crimes they've committed. We don't know if they're habitual, line steppers, that they commit crimes all the time, or if they've done it once. That's the reason why we need a border. That's the reason why we need to have, a strong, powerful border patrol and ICE that's out there able to do their job. So we don't have to worry about that kind of threat inside the country. And the argument the left always likes to make is, well, there's already murder going on here. There's already shootings that happen. So why does it matter if more people come in? Well, that's more of a chance that I have of being killed. And if I can stop those people from coming into my country, now I've got a smaller amount of threats that I now need to worry about. We already have gangs that are here domestically. We don't have to worry about the ones from other countries coming in. And at the end of the day, I don't want to worry about being run over by some rental vehicle and plowed through when I'm at a Christmas parade, or, some guy blowing me up or something like that. So it's just insane that they want to take away that ability to protect yourself.
Yeah, and it looks like the socialist parties, in Central America are really driving these caravans north. We were the ones who reported on how George Soros was funding the spokeswoman of the caravan, the group that she works for, and funding the parent organization of the caravan. So basically funding the caravan through the parent organization, right? So we know that this is a concerted play to try to get up through the southern border. What can the military do? Can the military build a wall? And what do we need in terms of, General Kelly and General Mattis, looking at our southern border?
Well, I think the only thing the military can really do is kind of play, like a role as far as being eyes and ears. And not much they can do as far as detention or anything like that I'm aware of. They're more of a support role at this point in time. But we spread those guys up and down the border in areas that we have wide open. And, that's an extra set of eyes and ears that can call in on the radio. Hey, guys, We've got a group coming in right now. There's like 5 or 6 people. Some are carrying weapons, some aren't. We think they're either drugs, it's human traffickers, or it's part of the caravan or whatever like that. There's a guy that lives in Hereford, Arizona. His name is Glenn Spencer. And for some reason, the SPLC has got him as one of the top most, racist people in the country. And I've met him. I've been out to his little compound out in Arizona. He's this nice little old man. But he created this technology that uses these autonomous drones with seismic readers along the border. And when people come from Mexico and approach the border, it sends a warning to these drones. These drones then come up out of the ground and fly over and follow those people as they come into the country. And they tell you, hey, do they have weapons? Are they transporting people? Are they transporting drugs? How many there are? And that information can be uploaded and sent to Customs and Border Patrol and ICE, local law enforcement, the Sheriff's Department, all that, and really give them a heads up of what they're going to encounter when they go out there to the border. And the government under Obama, they shut it down. They didn't want to use that technology. It's 10 times cheaper than paying for a wall and way more effective. And it would actually give you eyes and ears in real time over the border and let these guys know what they're going to encounter when they get out there.
You know, I was looking through some photos from the border recently, and the U.S. government actually put signs up in various different languages to help guide the migrants as they're running around in the dark in case they need water or supplies or something. And they've got Mandarin Chinese signs up there down on the border. It's like an illegal immigration Disneyland. And you realize that it's really the whole entire world going up through that southern border, because they get to Mexico first, no matter where they're from, and then they go up easily. And then once they're in the country, all you have to do is hop into a car and you can be anywhere in the country in, 10, 20 hours. So, this is really a national problem. That's why you're seeing so many illegal immigrants up north. This isn't just in the border states anymore. And meanwhile, you have drugs and all these things going all over the country, and it's an absolute disgrace. So what do you think needs to be done about the immigration issue in this country? And can President Donald Trump build this wall?
Well, first and foremost, you got to stop the freebies. And that's one of the things I know the Trump administration's been working on, is trying to cut off those freebies. Under the Obama administration, we had so much free stuff for these people if they came up here, and it was a big incentive for them to risk life and limb. Everyone says that if you're on the right and you want legal immigration, you're racist. No, what I don't want to see is someone who's lived on the border for a lot of my life and covered issues at the border. I've seen women as they've come over with torn clothes and blood because they've been raped and beaten by the coyotes. And, they're shaking, they're scared, they're terrified. And the little kids had to watch all that with them. We want to stop that. We want to stop that because that's going to bring in human trafficking. That business is booming when we're giving freebies to these people. So these people are willing to pay all this money. So we cut all that off, and that doesn't give an incentive for people to come up here. And then we hopefully get the funding for the wall, and I think it will happen at some point in time. We've already got large portions of walls already up, especially in the Rio Grande Valley sector, like around El Paso and things like that. And then in Arizona as well, when I was in Hereford and places like that, there's huge 20-foot walls that go up that are just giant. But still, with those there, it's easy to take a torch and cut those walls down, drive over them, and then bring it back up and weld them together. And that's not me making that up. I've actually seen the videos that they've shown me of that happening from local farmers and ranchers. But the wall does send a message. It says, hey, we're here, we're not playing games, and we mean business. Also, we have to we need hiring incentives for the Border Patrol. We need to get more people involved out there. And I know there's a lot of people that want to go join the Border Patrol. Let's get these guys hiring. Let's get some people on the ground. Let's get more eyes and ears. And let's be a little bit more open to different types of technology that can help watch these individuals approaching the border and get a better way to detain them, find out who they are, and then get them back and do it quicker. Because the longer and longer we detain these people like we're doing right now, we're catching them and detaining them, we're paying for that. We're paying for the housing. We're paying for the food. And that's really going to drain our bank account at the end of the day. And we're already in debt enough as it is.
Yep. Well, it's incredible to look at, too, the Chinese and the Iranians and some other people who have gotten military influence in Central and Latin America, especially in Venezuela, which is, a close ally of Iran. So you have America's enemies moving into the Western Hemisphere and moving pretty close to our shores. How do you think Trump is doing on foreign policy and the threats that we're seeing from China and North Korea? You obviously followed this very closely, so how would you grade him?
I think he's doing good, but he's definitely being undermined by, a lot of people within the government. Especially when you see, John Kerry, you see a lot of these people from, Obama's days coming out and undermining him and, going overseas and talking to people and trying to downplay what his administration's doing. It really makes us look like we don't have our stuff together here in the country. And I think that kind of does make us a little bit more susceptible to attacks and things like that, because they're going to think of, with all this chaos, if they watch American news in any kind of way, the CNN or the Fox or anything like that, it looks like complete and total chaos within our government, So a lot of these people are going to see that and go, wow, this is probably a good time to try something. But Trump's definitely not one of the guys you really want to test. I don't see him, being a coward or backing down. Trump's going to be the kind of guy that he's going to fight back and attack.
The fact that CNN is the network they show at the airports when everyone in the world gets to America creates more confusion and uncertainty and instability in the world than probably just about anything.
Yeah, I mean, our media is, at the end of the day, when he says are the enemy of the people, I mean, a lot of this media is. I mean, they do nothing but sow discourse. They do nothing but create division and chaos. I mean, if you were to lock yourself up in a house for a week straight and watch CNN 24/7, and you walked outside, you'd feel like you were storming the beaches of Normandy, and Nazis were literally trying to take your life at every turn, and that white people and black people are clashing in the streets over racism, and that transgendered people are being beaten and dragged through the road. But when you actually go out there and you live your life and you go out and into normal society, everyone's getting along. It's not that bad. Yeah, we have disagreements politically and things like that, but it's not that bad. But CNN is amplifying this to such an extreme. It's like World War III going on outside.
Well, Jim Acosta is back in the White House today. Aren't we all glad? Jim's back in.
It's funny how they'll fight. It's a constitutional crisis when Jim Acosta gets his White House press credentials nixed. But it's okay to go ahead and take our First Amendment rights away and censor it. It's okay to take our Second Amendment rights away and take our guns. That's not a constitutional crisis. That's okay. But we got to get Jim Acosta in there.
Joe, we've got boxes of ballots going through the airport in Fort Lauderdale. We have lawsuits in Georgia, which are over now. Thankfully, after 11 days, the Republicans won. We saw democracy tested pretty much to the brink. What does this say about 2020? And, I mean, the Democrats are just going to go all in on these crazy tactics now in elections.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really see them having anyone that's strong, especially, in the presidential election going up against Trump. I mean, you got Swalwell, Swalwell 2020, we got the nukes. And then you got Ocasio-Cortez, who's going to show us the three chambers of Congress. So I think we're doing all right in that area. I'm not too worried about that right now. And we got crazy Nancy Pelosi trying to take back over the House. So, I mean, this is just hilarious. And you got Trump out there saying, hey, man, we'll get you the votes. We want you in there. I mean, this is just the next couple years is going to be one for the records. I'll tell you that.
Well, Eric Swalwell seems to think it would be a short war, Jim, if he ever dropped nuclear bombs on the American people. So we don't want, let's keep that in mind when Swalwell does run for president. Sir,
yeah,
this candidate...
I think he nuked his chances at a presidential career after that comment.
This candidate literally threatened to nuke us.
Yeah.
Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs, thank you for your work. And you got anything else cooking today? Can we get the jump on?
Nah, nothing right now. I haven't really even dived into the news today, other than, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, however you say her name, is saying there's three chambers of commerce or of Congress. You got to see that video. Have you seen that video yet that she did? She keeps going live, and she butchers our U.S. government like almost every day. She has no idea what she's doing. Just watch her, and you'll laugh.
All right, Joe Biggs, thank you for joining us.
Roger that.